LaCroix? I didn't know I had them in there.
Who put those cans of? Maybe they're not LaCroix.
I don't think me.
Sparkling waters. Did Matt put them
I'll
in
have
there?
to look. I don't know.
Maybe
it was me.
Yeah. Maybe it was
Who
the
knows?
ghost.
It was the
Yeah.
ghost. Oh my gosh.
Don't start. Yeah, this building after 11 is like
I would never be here
wild.
after sundown alone.
I wouldn't suggest it.
Mm-mm.
Well, there was that one time Kelsey and I were in your office. It was like 8 a.m. I don't know what time it was.
Mm-hmm.
But were you talking about something like that? And then we heard like children giggling outside the door, and I was like, but it was like actual kids, so that was good.
Okay, yeah,
It was actual
But it just
kids.
played into the moment, and it was like, yeah, that's frightening.
That's not it. Turn on my.
What is that?
This is my Apollo. Turn on social to elevate my mood and energy.
How does that work?
It vibrates on your wrist and tells you that you're not being chased by a bear.
helps with anxiety.
Well, it's for like it's HRV training. You know what your HRV is? Your heart rate variability. So it's essentially like it measures your heart health, like how quickly you recover from stress and things like that. Right. So I technically have the HRV of like an 85-year-old. Like to be around for a while. So I'm like, so I got this ring and this.
The Aura ring?
And this
I want to get one of those.
wearable.
Is it a low HRV that's bad, right?
Yes,
because you need it to actually
you want your
go between a lot and a little.
You want to
whatever.
You want it to be like,
close to your
towards
actual
100.
age. Oh, okay.
No, I mean you like for I don't know how old you are. How old
26.
are you? Okay, so you would want yours to be like pretty high.
Okay.
Like
I haven't worn
Matt's
my
is like a
Whoop
60
in a long
something.
time.
Mine is like a 12. Sometimes an 8.
Mine was what, like an 80 or 90
Yours
or
was
something?
like 80.
We looked at it once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, if I stop drinking those Alanis, it'll probably get a lot better.
Do you drink a lot
Maybe
of
that's the
Alani?
secret.
Not anymore. Not
Because of the rat? Oh, because of the rat.
Because of the rat.
But that's what I was saying. Where does it stop? Because it's like, okay, if you don't want to drink that, you want to drink Celsius. Well, it's a can as well. Like they're susceptible, right?
What do you-
well, if I don't want that, maybe it's this coffee. But now it's in a coffee can. Like,
I mean, are we
Unless you
thinking they're
grow
just
it.
rats like crawling around all these factories trying to get in these
Probably.
cans to
those
die?
places are so highly FDA regulated, though,
Yeah.
that it seems nearly impossible for that to happen.
So it was a freak accident. Or somebody planted it there because they want Alani to
Yeah.
suffer.
Yeah. It could be another company that's like,
Yeah.
let's take them down. 'cause
Maybe
you're taking
it
our
was
market
It's Red
share.
Bull.
Brain. Yeah, it was Red Bull. Yeah. They're not popular anymore.
This doesn't give you wings, it gives you tail. Like a
Gives
rat.
you a tail, little rat.
I'm sorry. I hope you're not recording yet.
I
we're
hope you
definitely
are.
recording this already.
Great. I love this so much.
Yeah. I don't know. What time is it? Like 11:10 probably. So
No
I've probably
idea.
had about 1,000 milligrams of caffeine.
Are you
Okay.
kidding?
Not today, but typically.
What?
That's probably like
Do you
heart
need to lie
attack
down?
central.
Is that why you
Heart
have your
attack
own
central.
couch?
No, right now I just feel low.
Do you need to
because
lay
I
there
haven't
and
had-
like we can give you therapy or something?
I don't know.
You haven't had enough therapy.
I need to like,
Cheers to that.
yeah.
You want to wear my vibrating bracelet? It's nice.
Make you feel better.
Yeah, I need more of this. I might have to
Relax.
interrupt and get more caffeine.
1,000 milligrams. That's wild.
I
And Alani
calculated
has
that one time.
200.
I think it's 250.
Yeah,
Somewhere
somewhere
around
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's.
Is
I
it?
mean, an
Whoops.
average shot of espresso has 60. So just
Cool.
But you know, that doesn't give me the same like amount of energy as like one shot
no,
of espresso
girl, because you'd
does.
have to have 5 of them.
Yeah. That's crazy. 4.
So that's the equivalent of 5 Alani, which is 4 shots each. So 20 shots of espresso is what you just suggested?
Oh my god.
I think
Yeah, that's
it's
about
maybe
right.
best to not. Maybe
Yeah.
you should get an Oura ring and see what's happening with your stress
I
when
don't
you
know.
drink that
My
much.
Whoop said that I need caffeine to perform better. That I can drink a ton of caffeine right before bed and be just fine. My
I think
recovery
you're-
is higher.
Your Whoop is incorrect. I'm a doctor.
Yeah, I don't know. This is not medical advice. Yeah. I don't know.
That's
Well, I'm
wild.
glad that we could all three sit here. And I know that I said this before Kelsey walked in. Like, are you okay with Kelsey coming on? Because I know
Yeah.
people get weird about like competition and that sort of thing. And it's like, there's so much.
Yeah.
It's silly.
I do too, honestly. I
Yeah.
think in the photography world, it's definitely split. Some
Yes.
people feel super competitive, and I think the majority, though, we just want to like help each other out.
Yes, like if you just like stay in your lane and like worry about your own business, your clients, like what you're doing, it's so much more peaceful, I feel like, as a business owner than when you're constantly like looking over your shoulder to see who's catching up to you, looking beside you to see who's like right there with you, and looking ahead to see who's better than you. Like, why would you worry about it?
I mean, there's no real defense.
Right.
I mean, other than maybe putting a rat in a can and trying to say it's
Right.
that company.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Go
Talk
over there
trash?
and like unplug their battery chargers so they can't do their gig.
Right.
Right. It just makes, I feel like it's just not a good look.
No, it's not.
You should just be confident in who you are as a business owner and your brand and your clients. Like,
yeah, it's wild. I didn't even think about it. He was like, you maybe want to jump in here with us? And I was like, yes.
It's fun. Like, I love making, like, some of my very best friends in the world are other photographers.
Yeah. So when you talk about your lane, what is your lane?
What I think about when I think about my lane is literally just like my clients. Like, that's my focus. Like, if I am too worried about what another photographer is doing and I'm more worried about that than giving my clients a good experience, like, why are they paying me what they're paying me? If I'm not worried about making them happy or giving them a good experience or giving them photos that they're going to love, like, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Because it's exhausting. I'll never be as good as somebody who's been doing this 10 years, because they're always going to be better than me because they've been doing it longer, and that's just, it is what it is. I can learn from them, and I can, try to implement things that they implement, but they're always going to be a little bit further ahead of me, and that's okay.
I don't know. You're really good.
Oh, thank you.
I did stalk your Instagram a bit.
I looked at your all stuff too. It's really good.
It's really
and
good.
it's fun too, because we're like two completely different like styles, which I think is really cool.
Like, how do you communicate though to clients? Because of course, so many people are price shoppers.
Sure.
Yeah.
They want to whoever's cheap, but then they also want it to be good. So how do you communicate that client experience, that you're going to be able to take care of them in a way that maybe other people don't, or that you're thinking about details that other people don't consider?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but like I feel like you guys probably definitely been published. So like I've been published now, and like that's something I do bring up. Like, you're paying for a internationally published photographer. I'm not just somebody who has a camera who just does this for fun. Like, I take it seriously. Like, it's like the joy of my heart to do this, and I just really try to communicate that. Like, I'm not coming to your wedding on autopilot, trying to just do what I do every weekend. It's really thought out, intentional. And I feel like if you communicate that, they feel like they're more than just like another wedding to you.
Yeah. So how do you do that? How do you communicate?
Well, in a few different ways, but the first thing that like came to mind when you started this like bit of the conversation was like, we have our starting prices on our website. Because there are lots of tire kickers. Yes. And there are lots of good photographers at lots of different price points. You know what I mean?
So go ahead and qualify them from the beginning.
Because, well, for one, I think it's a confidence hit whenever you see your percentages of bookings versus inquiries go down, right? And so it's like, well, a lot of these people just don't want to spend that much money. So let them look at the site, see our starting prices. If they're like, that seems reasonable, that's within the budget, and they reach out. You know what I mean? And then we have a lot of heart, I feel like, within our business, and I feel like you do too. And so a lot of our like PDFs and educational pieces that we give to our prospective clients and our clients is like, all about that. So we talk a lot about the mission, and like why we're different is not because we're better. So we're really not better than a lot of other photographers, but I do think we probably are close to being at the top of caring the most.
Yes, I think that if you care more than somebody that charges less than you do, they can see that, and they're like, well, she really does care about making my wedding photos unique and like geared towards me, and like when I look at the gallery, it looks like me, not like somebody else, or like she cares about me as a friend. Like, I want my clients to feel like when I show up, and you probably feel this too, oh, thank God Savannah's here.
She's here. Gosh, yes, it brings like a piece,
like a friend
to having support.
Yeah,
it's important.
So I feel like that a lot of people see that as like a really good addition to your packages. Your personality, what you bring to the table, what you bring to the day. So,
excuse me. Well, it's almost like an insurance policy. Because you have the confidence in a busy, crazy day, a monumental moment.
Yeah.
You want to know that it's going to be great. So you pay for that.
For sure. And like, I don't know if you guys, you guys are a team, so, but I always include second shooters, and I cannot talk about the importance of second shooters enough. Like, in my business, they are like invaluable.
Oh, so truly.
Having that second eye and having someone who shoots differently than I do is just like, they've taken some of my galleries from great to like amazing. Their photos have. So
So how do you deal with a second shooter? Do you two, because I've not shot I do video stuff, not really photos, but so I've never been in that situation to figure out like how do you actually, what's that workflow?
Yeah.
Is it like one person's responsible for detail work and then somebody else is for like wider shots? I don't know how you break that down and make sure that everything gets covered appropriately.
How do y'all do it?
So Matt and I, because he's a dude, he usually goes like off with the groom and groomsmen and does all their like photos while I'm with the girls. He loves to do details though, so I'll let him do that. He honestly is a little bit more creative, I feel like. So sometimes I'll get like safe shots like during a ceremony while he's getting other stuff, or like he'll be down front to see her coming down the aisle while I'm in the back getting like, you know, big picture wide
so
stuff.
Do you talk about that like
well,
some time ago? Did you sort of assign yourselves that?
We essentially just, you know, play to our strengths, and it's fun that way. And also, but yeah, I mean, we've been doing it for, I won't say how long because it makes me feel but a long time. Yeah. And so it's just kind of like a flow now. But I bet for you, a second shooter's like, is that a conversation that you just have ahead of time?
Yes. Well, I use a lot of the same second shooters. I use Emma Roberts, Christina Ellis, Jacqueline Harper. Like I use a lot of the same people, and like they are my friends. They have their own businesses. They do their own thing, but like they know at this point, like I send them with the groom for the most, you know, for most of the time, and then. Like you said, they're getting the creative shots. I'm getting the more safe ones, so I know that they're getting taken. They're looking at the little details that are going on because I'm too focused on, you know, what else is going on. So I kind of do the same thing.
I love it because it makes a gallery more creative.
It does. Yeah. Like I said, there have been times where I'm taking a photo of something really important going on over here, and something's going on over my shoulder that's super important, and like they've turned and snapped, and like nothing got missed. Yeah. So that's why I just include them in all of my packages, like no matter how long I'm there for.
Sense. So. Yeah. You're only one person.
Right.
So you're bound to miss something.
Yeah.
No.
How do you...
Never.
Nothing. We never
knock on wood.
If you were a solo shooter, I mean, potentially.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with like a videographer that's there, or a videographer team? Because now we're talking multiple people, all kind of in the same line of sight, and trying to be in similar positions, and all the same kind of concerns. We want to get this moment. We want to get that moment. Like, when you show up, do you have to have a conversation with them, or I don't know what this looks like.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm kind of curious what that looks like.
The biggest team I've personally worked with is like 7 people. So you had 2 photographers, 2 videographers, and then now content creators are a thing, which I think this is an unpopular opinion, but I think they have a place too. I think that what they do is important too. So I've never had one be a problem. So until that happens, you know,
wait.
Cool with that.
What? A wedding content creator?
This is for sure a thing. They come with their phone and do videos and photos,
like
behind essentially like airdrop to you at the end of the day. Yeah, all kinds of raw footage.
So is it like, what's your message for the bride and groom?
That kind of stuff. Yeah, or you can make reels, you know, with it and stuff like that.
Lots of. We've only had content creators at maybe 2 weddings, and they just kind of stand over our shoulder with the phone and shoot everything we're shooting.
So behind the scenes of. You working?
Not really. No, not us. We're not in it. It's like they're documenting it as well. Yeah.
What do they do with that? That's different than the other cameras that are already there.
Right. Well, they get it that night, I think, is the like draw, and it's just raw footage, so they can like make reels and TikTok. Honestly, I don't know. I'm still forming my full opinion about it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. As long as you don't get in my way, I'm cool.
That's exactly what I was about to say. As long as there's like mutual respect there, like with videographers, you know, we'll either have conversations ahead of time or we meet that day. And I mean, Matt and I are pretty friendly. So we just talk like, you know, I'm going to try and stay on this side of the aisle so that I'm not in your shots. And then if we stay on the same side, then, you know.
Yeah.
Have you ever had like a nightmare situation where you had to deal with somebody that it was just not cool to deal with?
Yeah.
Yes. we had to shoot a wedding with 40 film crew. That was...
Oh my gosh.
Is that
ideal
at the castle?
Yeah. But we've also dealt with videographers and just other vendors who, you know, are not very friendly, but
which is honestly, I feel like you guys probably feel like this too. Being someone who just like is a people person and I want to be friends with, you know, the other vendors and like make connections with them. It's like, well, what's wrong with you? You know, like you don't want to hug me. You don't want to be my friend. Like, you don't want to like dance on the dance floor. Like, what's your problem? You know, like.
Yeah, so much work just comes from referrals.
Oh my gosh,
you know, I can't understand
all of it.
I mean, I guess maybe whenever you're early to it, you need every dollar that comes to you.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can maybe get that mindset where that comes from. But yeah, I mean, you make so much more in the long term by collaborating and being cool.
Oh, yeah.
Because like you said, you two have two different audiences, or, you know, maybe you're not available or something.
Yeah. I'm not available,
but
but
pitch somebody
this person
else.
is.
I know. I
work for
love
this person,
that. I love that.
Yeah. AI is a random thing I'm thinking about these days because of editing and everything else. Like, have you tried using AI in any way, whether it's like in editing or like culling stuff?
Oh my gosh, I'm so intrigued about what you're about to say.
Yeah.
I've only used it for like flyaway hairs.
Oh, sure.
But I've seen it used for some really, really interesting things.
Like something that's built into like Photoshop or something? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Like Sensei that's been...
It's like generative fill.
By the way, that's kind of interesting because Sensei's been a product for like a decade or more with Adobe, but we never called it AI, but that's what it was. Now we just call it AI and people are like freaking out. It's like, well,
they're like, it's brand new.
Yeah. It's been here a long time. But
So Matt and I actually had a conversation about this yesterday. I struggle a little bit with AI. I love it for the thought of like being able to fix things that I maybe didn't see in the moment.
Shot or something like that. Yeah.
Turn phones into chickens, you know, in the aisle, like whatever. Like I love it. But I think there's also something to like taking a photo and then turning it into something completely different. Because I think the point of a photo is to take you back to a moment, to like kind of jog your memory of a feeling. And I think once you take people, cut them out, drop them on a beach somewhere, a mountaintop, it's not
sci-fi.
It's not real anymore.
Pretty
so
much,
it doesn't. I don't know that it would carry the same emotion.
I agree.
So hanging it in your house would be beautiful, but that's where it would stop.
Yeah, and if somebody were to be like, "Oh my gosh, that's a beautiful photo. Like, where was that taken?" Oh, I don't know. My photographer AI'd that.
It ain't real.
It's not real. Yeah.
I mean, people do that with sky replacement though.
Sure.
Right? You'll go somewhere and it's gray and they're like, oh, we'll
I'd
make
like
it
some
blue.
fluffy clouds.
It's like, well, that wasn't real either. So
Yeah.
what is that? How do
What's
we
the
define that
line?
line between
don't
like
know.
art and documentary almost, you know? Like traditional photography is
true.
more of a documentary.
I don't know. I think my style is just more like real life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As it happened.
But I'm not saying I wouldn't ever like do something fun to play around,
yeah.
you know? But
Yeah. There's definitely, I agree. I feel like there's multiple uses like to help make a process a little faster.
yeah.
You know,
yeah,
rather than the
flyaways
pen
is
tool
so
back in the
smart.
day, and
Sure.
you know, just select subject and be done with it and let's move on.
Yeah.
I love it for that.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to also like in Lightroom now. Do you use Lightroom a lot?
Yes, that's all I use.
Really? Yeah, me too. So it's nice to be able to like select certain things like eyebrows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Darken
make
the
them a
eyebrows,
little, like,
nothing else.
filters that are
Yeah,
built
yeah,
in.
it's so nice.
Make that kid's eyes open.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
make this person not frown, please.
Now I don't
some
do that,
happiness.
but
No. If you're frowning,
Have you ever
that's what
played with
get.
those? Like to actually change their face?
no.
No.
It's pretty crazy. Or you can make them younger or older.
What?
It's like, yeah.
I mean, I did have an app for that for a little while. You could make yourself like look
Facetune
80.
or whatever it used.
Yeah, it's like, you know.
Yep.
Oh, do you remember when that came out and people were
Facetune?
freaking out because they were like it was a Russian publisher
yeah.
and they thought
Yeah.
they were stealing
They're
your
stealing
face?
your likeness so they can get into your stuff.
Yeah.
I've told groomsmen before, like, you better behave or I'll turn you into a clown. I got AI.
Yes.
And so
I'm
then
in
they
control
really
of your
just
photos.
Yes, yeah. Then they really just like they behave. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to
Oh my
put a little
gosh.
bit of fear into them, and then they straighten up.
Nothing just, you know, shores up a relationship like fear.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I'm scared of her. This is going to be a great day.
Yeah, this is wonderful.
She's small, but she's scary.
Oh my God. How did you get into photography? Like what, like for video for me, it really started with like doing marketing and our clients needed assets.
Yeah.
And so we started doing that, you know, and
Yeah.
photos and videos were always a personal kind of interest of mine. So that, you know, naturally allowed us to kind of execute and implement video into what we do. But
Sure.
So I'm curious, where does photography come from for you?
So I'm not like one of those people that's been doing it forever. Like I didn't grow up playing with a camera or anything like that. Me and my sisters would obviously like make stupid videos, stuff like that, you know, as kids do. But
Right.
my sister started playing football her sophomore year of high school, and my mom had like some little rinky-dink Nikon like starter, whatever. And so huddle was a big thing. She wanted like pictures to post on Instagram and all of that. So I would just stand on the sidelines and like snap pictures of her or whatever. Well, there was one night where I got this like really cool shot of her from the side with her helmet, her braids hanging down and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, this is a cool shot, whatever. And so I kind of took a break from it for whatever. She graduated and all of that. And so then COVID came around and I was working in healthcare, and it was truly just like a dark time. Yeah. Truly to, be a human, but like be a human who works in healthcare was just like super hard. And so I was going through some other stuff, and my cousin, who was like one of the only people who was not afraid to be around me at the time, because everybody else thought I had the plague or whatever.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So we both just needed like a little pick me up. So we just took that same Nikon to the park one day and just took pictures of each other. And I was like, these are pretty good.
I love that.
These are fun. So then I posted them on Facebook, and I was like, I don't even know where this is going to go, but if anybody wants some photos, then I'm going to do them for free. So I did probably for the first 6 months of photography. I didn't make $1. Yeah. But I did a whole lot of shooting.
Classic move. So many people are afraid of that. Yeah. Deathly.
I don't know
This is
why.
what I do. This is my career. Why would I do this for free? It's
because
you can
then if they don't love them, you can give them a refund.
Yep.
Because that was free.
And I will say this, like it is always, anytime I've done something for free, like an event, I do a lot with Kappa Delta at UK, like anytime I've done something for free, it has always worked out in my favor. I get it tenfold back.
You never regret it.
No.
I've never regretted it. We do a lot for free.
Yeah.
Even still, and I love it.
Well, even like, I don't know if you guys do this, but like end of life sessions for like family, pets, like I don't charge for those. Like that's a blessing to me to be able to go and give someone something tangible to remember, like a family member or a pet or something like that, like.
It's so hard.
You get blessed so much by doing that, you get it back.
Well, so karma's real, that putting that energy out in the world, I think is important.
Yep.
Also, just, not to make it a cold situation, but it's almost sales. You put that moment out there and people would say nice things.
Yes.
Like,
oh, yeah.
Savannah did this thing for free for us.
Yep.
And it was great.
And just makes you feel good.
Maybe they put it on social and you get a client from that,
For sure.
It's real. Whether you intended for that to happen or not.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Anytime I've done something for free, it's always worked out. So.
Yeah.
Especially those, 135,000 free shoots I did at the beginning. Hey, that's what it felt like. But I got a lot of practice.
During COVID, I guess it was like July of that year, whenever we were just starting to like be allowed to move around a little bit. I one day like was driving around and I was like, I really want to give away a few free sessions to like healthcare workers and what is it? Like the group of people that was allowed to work. Essential workers. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm going to give away 20 shoots. And I posted on Instagram and I was like, I'm going to give away 100 shoots. And I did 100 free sessions in a week.
But it probably made you a better photographer.
It was incredible.
It's all practice.
It was incredible to see people feel appreciated.
Yes.
Because they were so tired, and it's like, well, you get it for sure. They were so tired, and to feel like somebody saw what they were doing and like
and that was
appreciated it.
More than like a free chicken sandwich.
I mean, so many of those people are my clients now. And the crazy thing is I wasn't thinking about it then. I was just thinking like, how could I show up?
People are loyal though. Like if they, most people, if you give them a service that is, you've given them a good experience, they love your product, like they love you as a person and they feel like they're more than just a client to you, they're going to come back to you for everything. Yeah.
They knew that they could count on you then.
Yes.
They know that they can outsource that to you and they can leave that thoughtfulness behind of like, okay, I don't have to worry.
Yeah, so true.
I've got that, right?
Yeah.
One thing I struggle with sometimes, because I feel like I'm so hyper aware of just things, is what we were just talking about. Knowing that you're doing something that has the potential of a reward on the back end, but it's also philanthropic at the same time.
Yeah.
Like Christmas time, we see a lot of churches that'll have videos miraculously of them handing money to homeless people. And I'm like, in that moment, what's happening there? Was that for the video?
Or were you actually
was it for
like
the kindness? Because if it was genuinely for the kindness, you could just walk by yourself out there and hand the money and you put that out into the universe.
Yeah, but
somehow there's a video crew here now.
Well, but if there wasn't any documentation of it, then how would that inspire other people to do the same?
That's a good look at it. Yeah, that's a good way to look at
Yeah.
it.
I mean, like the stuff we do at Christmas time is crazy, and we don't, like I think actually we talked about you coming along with us at some point this last year to do like all of our Christmas stuff, because I want people to feel inspired and encouraged to do
like
more.
a chain of
but it's hard to
kind of thing.
It's hard to document those things when you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
So that is a challenge.
And I failed at doing that, for the record.
Huh?
I failed at doing that.
I wasn't trying to call you out, but
I know, but
here we are.
You suck.
I'm going to put myself
You
out
don't
there.
suck.
Whatever.
No, but that's true. And honestly, this was not the first year we've done that, but it was the first year that I've considered trying to have someone along to help tell the story.
What do you all do at Christmas?
We essentially just raise money to try and help local programs who do Christmas for kids who maybe can't get all the way there. So like the Salvation Army or, Operation Secret Santa, things like that. Like, they're trying to serve these local communities, and sometimes the support doesn't quite match the need.
Yeah.
And so what we do is try and crowdsource money and toys and jackets and things like that. And then, go out and give them to those groups who are trying to
And it's
help.
amazing to see. I love seeing like the show up of the community. Like
It's awesome.
Just how many people are like, oh, that is important.
But how would you see it if you weren't documenting it?
Yeah. Well, and I guess it comes back to intent. Like I'm kind of working this out in real time.
No,
but it
I
comes
think
back
you're
to
right.
What was the intent? If it was as a marketing ploy, well, that feels one way.
I have seen
If
that
it was
too.
just to help that one person, then you go by yourself. If it's to have a little video collateral that you could share with other people for the purpose of inspiring, well, then that makes sense.
I think I think, perception is reality.
Yeah.
I think you just have to hope that for that one video of that one time, there were 100 others that nobody knows about. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
But
Well, and we started this whole thing with talking about doing things for free and
what's
because
the
there's
end
value.
goal?
Yeah.
What's the end goal there?
Because we could say we're doing this for free for fun.
Yeah.
But there is value, inherent value in the practice, like what you mentioned before. Like,
I mean,
when
I
you're
do free
coming
shoots
back
for
to
fun
it-
all the time.
yeah.
And you probably do that too. Like, I have this idea. I want to recreate that, but nobody's going to come to me and say, I want to get in a hot air balloon and do blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, this is
right.
fun.
So I'm going to set it up and do it myself.
Yeah.
Because it's fun.
I love it.
And you get creative, and that's how you grow. That's all. That's literally what, to be a photographer is literally just shooting all the time.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's
It is.
so fun.
And you grow so much, like, by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
When there's no pressure, like it's a free shoot that this couple is giving me their time, I'm giving them free photos, so I'm gonna incorporate a new
do whatever you want, girl.
I do think
new
it's
pose or
kind of
whatever.
interesting, like noticing for myself. We do a lot of run and gun kind of stuff where we're just following along as things are going on. And,
I love that though.
yeah, but it's difficult because you're in the moment and nothing's planned, so you can kind of gauge what's going to happen. If you're covering a certain type of event, but for the most part, it's not scripted. You have no idea, so you got to kind of just be on your toes the whole time.
You just got to be prepared. That's
Yeah.
tough. We
And-
create a lot of the moments that we're
Yes.
documenting.
Yeah. Well, and with that run and gun situation, it's hard to sit there and kind of edit or shoot with the edit in mind.
Oh, yeah.
You can, but not at the same time.
Sure.
It's like certain times you might go, okay, I know that I can expect in a wedding, of
There's
first
a level
looks and like all
of
this kind of stuff.
predictability. Yeah.
And within that, maybe you can figure out like, I want to match this shot to this next shot with a similar motion.
Yeah.
Kind of. Anyway, my point being is like, it's so just run and gun that I feel like I'm very well settled right now in a certain like skill set or like a box of tricks that I could pull out.
Sure.
But right now I feel like I'm starting to get on that season of like, okay, I want to learn more. I want to add
I've got
to
the
that.
itch to learn.
Because sometimes,
so bad.
like sometimes you just like, life gets in such a way that like you just keep pulling from the same bag because you don't have time to
you're on
add to
autopilot.
it. Yeah. So right now I feel like I want to keep adding.
Is the death
And
of
you can
creativity.
feel it when you're in there. You can
Yes.
feel it. I mean, you get into a busy season all of October, November, and you're just like, okay, stand here and smile, look at each other and smile, hold hands and walk towards. And you like literally, it's like, this is painful for me.
I
don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, I really have to like try and protect myself from that. We do a lot of minis, a lot, and it's like I have to really be intentional about not burning out
For sure. I
to
mean,
try and show up.
minis are soul sucking they are. They
how
can
do you do that? I mean, if you have hundreds of minis throughout a year, how do you stay inspired personally? But then also, do you try to give every client a different version? I mean, there's only so many movements and positions and things that a human being can actually get themselves into. So at a certain point, it is kind of finite.
I think so. Yeah, I see what you're asking. I think it's different for everyone because everyone is different. Yeah. And so, each family, even if it was 2 adults and 2 children back to back to back, like their sessions are going to be completely different because their temperaments are different and their level of snuggleability, we'll say, make that word up, is different. But I mean, I think there's like a workflow that I go through that is similar each time. But it changes depending on, you really have to be like emotionally aware.
You do.
Over and over and over. I mean, there are days when I'll do 28 sessions and it's like, we build in a lot of breaks, and like a lot of resets.
Do they start feeling like all the cogs
same
in the wheel of just like, all right, door opens, new people, you do this, you do that. All right, you're done. Now you come in and you do this.
The only time it's like that for me is with Santa.
Oh yeah.
And that's just because I want them to all get to do all these things. I want them to get to come in and see him and like him to say their name and see that magic. And then I want them to come over and get to read a story and open a present that's a cookie. And then, you know what I mean? So that for me is like, I'm curating the experience and I'm just documenting it.
Yeah.
But everything else, no. I mean, I don't know. I might be weird, but it's just fun.
I don't do a whole lot of minis because I'm the opposite, and I have to be self-aware to know that, like, I will get into that where it's just like, okay, like, you got 30 minutes, let's do this.
Burn out on it.
Yeah. So I only do minis at the fair, at the state fair.
Oh, cool.
They're so fun. They're my favorite. I do them every year.
How does that work?
So I just meet the couple in, like, what's it called? The gangway or whatever? Yeah. Is that what it's called?
Something.
I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Sounds right.
That sounds right. It sounds kind of dangerous
we'll
also, but whatever. Where all the rides are. And I'll meet them there. And I'll document them, like getting their tickets, like getting on a ride. Like a lot of times, like the people at the fair will let me get on the rides too. Like I've been doing it for 3 years now. So they kind of know me at this point. Like, hey, again, it's me. I'll be there 3 or 4 times during the week.
Do you have to call ahead and say, like, I want to do this thing?
No. So I do the fair and I do Christmas. Those are the only minis I do because I know myself and I know that I'll just get...
Yeah.
I just will get into autopilot and I don't like delivering galleries that I know. Like, I just went through the same routine as I did with everybody else.
I love that you say that, though, because it's like you're not just going to do it to make a buck. Like, if you don't feel lit up by it, you're not going to do it.
Because I feel like that's the quickest way to get yourself into a creative rut. Like, if you are doing something just because you feel like everyone else is and, like, you feel like you have to.
Sure.
You're not doing it because it, like, makes you happy.
And people can tell. I mean, you can tell. Yeah. They might not be able to tell, but you can.
And there's nothing worse than delivering a gallery where you're like, I struggled through this whole entire session and I don't feel like I gave them my best.
It does happen, though. It does, I think, to I say to everyone, but it does happen.
Yeah,
it's happened to me for sure.
I'll say it's happened to me. There have been times where, like, I know one time in particular, I've texted one of my clients who is a returning client. She's a good friend of mine now, and I sent her the gallery, and I was like, I'm not happy with these. Can we please redo them? If you are...
I love that, though.
Like, this is not my best work. I wasn't on my A game that day. Like, you can have these, but we're going to redo them. Yeah. And, like, I have booked probably 7 or 8 weddings off that one client. Like, just being, like, you're a person beside, I'm a business owner, but I'm also a person. I'm human. And, like, the camera isn't doing the work I am.
Well, and that authenticity is so appreciated, too. Like, for you to just say, like, in the moment, like, I gave it my best, but that day I wasn't at my peak. Or, something was going on.
Hadn't had my Alani yet.
Oh, I was only at 800 milligrams of caffeine. I needed to hit 1,000 to really peak.
Yeah, that's when I start feeling myself.
Yeah, that's when I wake up.
That is wild.
I know.
We should dig into that, but
probably not good.
Right now. But we should. Yeah.
Probably not good.
You have palpitations?
No, surprisingly.
Maybe you just don't know because you have them all the time.
Maybe it's just so low all the time, and I'm bringing it to normal.
You're doing your body a favor.
Like
coming to
2
life.
minutes a minute.
That's wild.
Maybe that's
You need a shirt that's like, this guy runs on 1 million milligrams of caffeine.
I know.
Done. I can see you. Merch.
I need
that.
Put
on a sweatshirt.
I'd wear it.
I feel like I'm actually in the jungle today with this Mac and Clay sweatshirt.
That leaf is like floating around your face a lot.
Yeah, that leaf has something it wants to say, apparently.
Hello?
It looks very real, though. It doesn't.
It does not look real.
I thought it came off. It was real.
You did?
Yeah. It's
See?
highly
you.
saturated, though.
It is very green.
Yeah. The contrast is real high up there.
It's funny talking about saturation contrast in real life.
It's ingrained
Yes,
into your
true.
brain. Do you feel that way?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask you a question, though. Do you ever pose yourself in the car?
What do you mean?
Like, I'm at a stoplight, and I'll, like, look in the mirror, and I'll, like, do some kind of, like, movement. Like, is that cute? But then I'll look over, and somebody's, like, staring at me.
I
You
mean,
ever do that?
I do that a lot when I walk past mirrors. I'm like, how would I?
Yeah, would
Chin
my
out.
client look good?
Oh, man, that's going to be great to see you later.
Yeah, no, I've done it. I've been caught several times. Like,
Oh,
I'll
that's
be like,
hilarious.
doing like your hand in a different place or like whatever, and I'll look over and I'm like,
So why the car? What
I
is it
do a
about
lot
the
of
car?
singing.
stoplight. That's my one
Just
time.
because-
We're busy all the time. So I'm at a stoplight. Might as well make some use of my time.
So when you're driving, do you pay attention to like colors and all that sort of stuff and subjects that are around?
I pay attention to like
some of the other
locations
stuff?
that I can
yeah.
potentially use, which are all, of course, on the side of the road.
It's always the middle of the interstates where all the flowers are, by the way.
Yep.
Have you ever noticed that?
I'm like,
It's like
how
you're
far would
gonna
my client
maybe
have to walk?
Yeah.
But also, it's like, how bad is the wind over here? Like, it's not,
Yeah.
like, I don't care to make them walk. Like, we're going to walk for the spot, but how bad is the wind?
A couple weeks ago, I needed a shot of a baby horse and its mom.
That's
And
so
I drove
specific.
everywhere and couldn't find it. Saved my life. Drove everywhere in Keeneland, out in Paris, Bourbon County, Scott County.
You
Couldn't
should have
find it.
texted me.
There was one spot I actually found
You
it.
found one.
But the best spot would have been Keeneland, the fields that are right next
Mm-hmm.
to New Circle, because they're always there. But I just don't want to like pull over on the side of New Circle and get killed.
Best to not do that.
But
yeah.
it's like the perfect little venue for
Yeah.
getting horse shots.
I do like to
'Cause,
shoot
the
at
sun
Keeneland.
comes up there too.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. It's
Risk
Kentucky.
reward, I guess, right? Stand on the
Yes.
side of the road and
Yes.
potentially die, but whatever.
No risk, no
We
reward.
got the shot.
I like
You got this. You got to do it
We
for the
got the shot.
shot.
It's on the camera.
Yeah.
Somebody
yeah,
can get it.
but
Sometimes you have to do crazy things for the shot, but it's always worth it.
What's
yeah.
like the craziest thing you had to do to get a shot that you wanted?
oh,
I know it's random.
Probably like just like literally bending your body in a way that is like you're gonna hurt for days afterwards, but it's worth it to get the shot.
we shot an engagement session in a private jet in the sky.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
so hard to get exposure correct inside of a plane and
Yes.
see the sky.
Mm.
That
True.
Did you
It's
take lights
impossible.
with you?
no, that
she
would
took
be
this
I would
big
be
thing
way
in
too on purpose. You know? No, maybe not a flash. Matt
So
was
what do
there
you do,
though.
like
He's
bracket
technically
or
like,
something?
smart. It didn't work.
Oh.
It just didn't work. No, Matt
it doesn't.
Matt made it work. Probably AI.
Yeah, AI.
Put the clouds in the windows. We could have done it on the
Oh
ground.
yeah, exposed for the inside, fake the outside.
Yeah.
I saw a TikTok. Somebody got it was like a carton of milk or something, and he was holding it in one hand. You know, it's got the handle, the plastic handle, and he was faking like a jet window and put the iPhone up against it because it looks just like.
You can do that with a toilet.
It's literally
seat.
so crazy.
I've never noticed
You
that.
can do that with
before.
a
That's
toilet
so
seat.
funny.
I had a bride
jump
ask
that-
me to edit out a
That's so
family
crazy.
member out of a photo, and I used AI for that.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
We've
that's
done
why
that.
you always put them at the end, so you can just crop them out.
Yeah, but you know, some people think to do that.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So you don't.
Well,
Judging
yeah,
by
but I'm
yourself.
saying
Okay.
like them and their families, we don't know the dynamics.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So we
Sometimes
don't know if
you'll
that's
be
just a
told-
girlfriend or a boyfriend.
yeah.
They're not going to be
Right.
around
Yeah.
for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I will say, which let me ask you this, if you run into this, I think because Photoshop is so powerful and there's AI now, a lot more people have more outlandish requests
Absolutely.
for photoshopping. And I'm like, actually, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, and are you?
Or
afraid to
like,
tell people
I
you
don't think
know how to
that's
do
real.
it?
Oh my gosh. No, girl, I'll just
Me
get
neither.
online and
Like
pay
what?
somebody else to
Retouch
do
up.
it if I have to.
If the
But,
owner of
like-
Retouch Up was listening to this, I love you.
We'd like to be sponsored now.
Yes, we'd like a code, please.
Yes, like you can pay. I mean, I think it's
Yes.
like what, $10 or something like that,
Yes,
and
they've
have
saved so many pictures.
because sometimes we get requests that I'm like,
What do they want?
oh my gosh, all kinds of stuff, like changes in things like on themselves, but also like
Can you add this person from this photo that's
it's
completely
putting
different lighting?
it's putting people in that feels
Yeah.
so hard. Taking people out, sure, like we can figure that out,
Yeah.
but like. Could we stop by your studio and take a picture of my sister to put into our formal family
completely
photos?
different lighting,
Like-
completely different place. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think we can. Well, because they want that whole family photo on the wall. You know, like I understand the logic in it. It's just people would automatically assume it's very easy because it seems like technology has come so far.
Yeah.
Yes.
They think that like we're miracle workers.
Yeah. You watch TikTok and it's like, oh, well, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And anything can happen. But
what they don't know is that AI has a mind of its own, and you can put, you know, such specific detail in there, and it's still like popping up something out of left field, and I'm like, retry, like refresh. I'm hitting refresh like 20 times before it's like acceptable.
I don't really use AI very much.
I don't either.
No, I used it recently for some like grad sessions because like they had the stole was kind of funky, and so I used the AI to like edit the stole out, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have a question about like being a woman-owned business, like in the respect that's out there, because it seems like so many more women are owning companies anymore and being CEOs in a way that maybe hasn't happened before. So I'm curious, in the creative space in photography, do you find a difference in gender as far as like if there's a guy photographer that's on the same project as you? Do you find people treat you differently than him?
I think it's all about how you present yourself. That first initial like introduction. I've really only had issue with like one other vendor, a DJ, and I just kind of let him know, like, you're not gonna like talk to me like that. Like, I'm not here to like work for you. I'm here to work for my client, and like, you're not the boss of me. Like, you can say things to me in a nice way, and then we can work together. Great. But I think it really is truly like how you present yourself in that initial like meeting. And so for me, I don't know if you feel this way, but for me personally, photography has given me confidence that I never had before. I'm much more sure of myself and my abilities and like my personality and all of that than I was before I started. Like I say it all the time, like I'm the most confident when I've got a camera in my hand. Like,
Why is that? Because you feel so in control of like the art that you're making?
Because I feel like that's what I was made to do.
Yeah. Okay.
I love that.
You just feel
like
it
too.
You just feel it's like a purpose. You're like, oh, okay, well, this is what I was put on earth to do. And so for me, at least, like, I'm not going to let anything like get in the way of that. Like if I've got a male vendor who wants to look down on me because I'm a female and I'm young and like just haven't been doing it for forever, you know, I've been doing it for 4 years. That's like it's still a baby in this industry, you know, but if you want to look down on me because I'm a woman-owned business, then that's your own fault. I'll see you later. Yeah.
What were you gonna add?
Well, I was just like thinking about it as you said it. We've been doing this, I guess. So we shot our first wedding when I was 19. I'm 35. So it's been a while. And I think like in the beginning, it was different than it is now. So there were lots of times where I would show up to shoots and people would be like, well, where's Matt? You know, and that was just an education thing. Like, you know, like, okay, well, we're both photographers. And, you know, I think in the beginning it was more Matt forward. And then throughout the years, it kind of like flip-flopped a little bit. And so that was hard in the beginning. But there have been a few times where other vendors, like male vendors, have been interesting to work with.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily for me, Matt's been there. So like, you know, if I have some type of uncomfortable conversation. I mean, one time I remember we were going through a buffet line with the band, and one of the members of the band was like, just absolutely just put his hand right on my butt. And I was like, come here, girl. And I was like, I'm going to die right now in this moment. Like, what do I do? I'm not going to elbow this guy, right? Like we're working.
You have so many
they're in the middle
interactions.
Oh my gosh, it's wild. But I mean, you know, that's life. Yeah. But things like that, I don't think happen to guys. Maybe. Yeah. But, you know, I had him there, so I just went immediately to him, and he was like, no.
Yeah.
You know.
He went and took care of business.
I just went to Matt, and I was like, help. You know, and he was like, that's not appropriate.
I don't understand a world where that even begins to enter somebody's brain.
That's not the only time that's happened. It's wild.
Groomsmen, they can be wild too.
They can.
We were talking about this when we got up earlier. It's like you just have to make them fear you, and then.
So I think I don't have any way to make anybody fear me, I guess. But I think I just like hope for their respect, and also I'm like, you know,
just building relationships. That's what this business is all about.
Yeah, and it's just like acting like you're a part of the crew, you know what I mean? Versus like being someone who's a presence there, like to be known, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like no, I just want to be in there. Like, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care.
That really is interesting when people talk about like a strong woman comes off as like being bitchy rather than just like confident.
Yeah.
Like that dichotomy or that hypocrisy basically.
Yep.
Yeah, it is interesting.
I mean, like, do you feel that way still? Like if you and Matt show up, do you feel like people, you know how like maybe you go out to dinner, they probably put a bill in front of Matt and not you?
You know
do
what?
they do the same thing where they talk to Matt first and not you?
So that is really interesting that you say that, because last night we went out to dinner and our server put the check in front of me. And I was like, well, that's cool. I was like, I didn't realize that didn't happen often until last night when it happened. And I was like,
stood out, right?
Like, well, I'll just get my card right out of my phone here. Like, you know, I don't know. It was like in a moment.
You should look at him like it's on me.
I did like that moment. I did like that moment.
Because I'm always kind of curious about that too. When people say they want a thing and then they get it and then it wasn't quite what they thought.
Well, I don't, to be honest, like you're asking that question and I don't think I've ever thought about it really in like as it pertains to photography, like at a wedding or something like that. Yeah. So I don't really know because I've never, like I'm equal. I've never noticed, but I think it's because I've not looked for it. You find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And I just look for people to treat me well. And usually they do, you know? So I don't think I've experienced.
There's some really, really good people in the wedding industry. Some just really great people, especially in Lexington, Louisville, like just some awesome people. And it's a smaller community. Like it feels big, but like once you get into like working with the same people, it gets to be really small and you just look out for each other and you're all there for the same goal and it's fun. It's enjoyable.
Sure.
Yeah.
I do think people will approach me differently than Matt. Like I recently had somebody come and take me by the arm, like this and then a up and a like that
like a
to
child?
go. Like a you're coming with me to take a photo. I don't think people would probably do that to Matt.
Probably not. Unless it's a grandma. They like
I don't
to
understand the like lack of boundaries. It's just strange.
Yeah. But
I've never
had
seen
a bride
like disrespect my boundaries, but I've had bride's family members or groom's family members disrespect my boundaries a lot.
Sure.
So
sure.
Well, hopefully the conversations keep going on and people find out about this kind of stuff and actively work to go against it.
Well,
not
honestly, it's such a great space to be in.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, you know,
those
these are very
are rare.
These are very isolated events. I love it. I love what we do.
There's never really truly it's been a time where I've left a wedding and been like, I hate this.
No.
There's been times where it's like I'm exhausted. That was a long day, but there's most of the time it just ends with, but I get to do this for a living.
It's a gift.
I don't have to go to an office and work, you know, 9 to 5 in a cubicle, which obviously there's nothing wrong with that, but I personally couldn't do it. I get to do this and it is a gift and it's a gift I get to give other people and it's fun. So
what are some of the other venues maybe in town that maybe you haven't shot and you kind of want to?
I want to shoot at Ashford Acres.
It's beautiful.
Where's that?
We did a styled shoot there. It's
Ashford
really pretty.
Acres.
It's it's outside of Lexington.
Oh, okay.
But it's not far, maybe like
Have you
30
ever been to
minutes.
Inglewood Estate?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, Inglewood? Is that what you said?
It's in Lawrenceburg. You have to shoot there. It's beautiful.
Maybe. I don't think we have. We need to. I really want to shoot.
Setup there.
I really want to shoot at the Sanctuary. It's a
Yes.
new
Oh my
venue.
gosh. Gorgeous.
It just opened. I don't even know if they've had any events there yet.
They've had a styled shoot. I think
they had a styled shoot. Yeah, with Taylor.
But it looks like it's at like in another country.
Do you know where Arcadium is? Okay. It's on Limestone down like. It's not far from Gray Line.
Okay.
Like maybe like a few blocks.
I feel like I've seen it.
It's beautiful though. It's
Limestone.
limestone.
I feel like I've
It's
seen it. Okay.
Yeah, they like lime washed all the walls and it's like all the doorways are arches and they've got an atrium that's like all metal framing and glass, so it's like really beautiful light.
Cool.
It will be booked so fast. Like it'll be one of those venues that's impossible to get like a date there. You'll have to get married in January.
Yeah.
That'll be one of those venues.
I hope
so different.
It's beautiful.
They did a really great job. How do you feel about like new venues? Like I've said this since I started. Like I feel like they need like a board when you're building a venue. Hire like a board of other like wedding vendors. Like, hey, don't put a window there. That would suck for lighting.
Oh yeah.
You know
Oh yeah, because a lot of people who build out venues, they're not
hey,
photographers.
Paint this
they're
room
not,
white.
You know.
They're all about the aesthetic and what it looks like, not the functionality of it.
There have been times I've shot like at venues that are so beautiful, but they are so hard to photograph because
of
lighting and all that stuff. Like
So
no
true.
windows anywhere or windows in awful spots. And
Like, where's the light?
yes, somebody help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you want to shoot? You've been doing it a little bit. So
I think
you've probably
Sanctuary.
Shot most places.
I really would love to shoot there. I'm excited at the like opportunity to do something
It's
a
just
little
different.
different.
You would probably have so much like creative juices flowing there because
but-
it's just different.
Yeah, but we also don't do a crazy amount of weddings anymore. So there were years where we'd do like, I think one year we did 43, and it's just crazy.
Speaking of teleporting to
it's a
heaven,
lot.
that would do that to me.
Yeah.
I would die.
It's a lot. And so each year, you know, we try and bump it back just a little bit more. So we have a daughter, and,
Yeah,
you know, Saturdays are sacred a little bit. So
for sure.
It's a
we
lot.
try and limit it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw this, I think it was TikTok the other day. It was a TikTok or a reel, but it was talking about that. Like, as a wedding vendor, like, it's looked like some people look down on you if you only do like 12 weddings a year, but you're making more money than people that are doing 60, however, double weekends all the time. It's like, I'm protecting my peace and my creativity. If I shot an 8-hour wedding yesterday, and I'm coming today to shoot your 10-hour wedding, I'm not going to have anything to give you. I mean, at least I wouldn't.
Well,
So-
yeah. And I think it's okay to work smarter and not harder.
Yes, absolutely. You get to do more of what you want to do and what you feel like serves your business a purpose, serves your clients better. Like doing more of like with your dream client, I guess you could say, like things that you know would serve you. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Man, I just felt like such a hypocrite, or like so not real by saying work smarter, not harder, because I shot a ridiculous amount last year. But I'm like, we teach best what we need to learn.
We aren't doing that again this year. That's my favorite. I'm not doing that again this year. Never again.
Yeah.
Lies.
Right. That's how it always
Fine.
goes.
It's fine. We're learning.
I would love to do another one of these. Like I've told you, I kind of want to do another podcast, a different one besides the business show, one that's more
should.
creative,
Yeah, that'd be fun.
You need
I like
to.
this. This is fun.
creative people. So keep this kind of thing going.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you
having
for
me.
joining us, because
Thanks
you
for
had a lot
letting
with
me
this kind of
crash your
thing.
party.
Yes, this is
I'm
so
so
fun.
glad I got to
I've
meet
got a new
you.
friend now.
Yeah.
So where can we learn more about everything that you're up to?
So you can learn mostly on Instagram, actually.
Okay.
I'm kind of starting my TikTok. They say TikTok doesn't really work, but I'm going to give it a try.
I
Who's
think
they?
TikTok
Who
works.
says
The people on TikTok.
Well,
the people on
Here's
TikTok
the-
believe the platform they're on doesn't work.
well,
Okay.
let me explain to you what she's saying, or what I think she's saying is like TikTok doesn't always translate to sales when it's
Right.
a person to person, kind of
Yeah.
like in-person experience, because it's not location specific.
I've booked one bride
You
off
know?
TikTok.
Yeah, but
it
it's like kind of more rare. Instagram is a little more local.
If I'm
Yeah.
going to create a reel for
get
Instagram,
that.
why wouldn't I put it on TikTok too?
That's
while I'm at
right,
it?
girl.
Yeah, the TikTok might be for more like industry reputation, amongst
Right.
other photographers.
Sure. If
Yeah.
you had like resources to sell, I think TikTok is like where it's at.
Yeah.
But if you are, you know, in a
Yeah.
in an industry like ours, like
Trying to use
you got to
it for
reach the
leads.
people who can use you,
Yes.
right?
Yes, for sure.
Do you run ads? Well, you don't run ads. Do you run ads?
Nope.
Yeah. Word of mouth.
Yep.
That's cool. So you didn't say your handle, I don't think.
Oh, at Resilient Hearts Photography.
Cool.
I love that name.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
That's really good.
Well, thank you again.
Thanks
Really
for having me.
appreciate it.
This
Yeah.
was fun.
That's
This
fun.
is so fun.
Thanks for joining
I
us,
love
Kelsey.
it. Let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again. This was fun.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to the Lexington Business Show. Go right now, rate and review the podcast. It's how we grow and thrive and how we get more listeners and get to do a lot more cool stuff here on the show. Thank you.